I think we should have got you singing on that.
Nah. My choir days are over.
Yeah. At least you had choir days.
That's true. I had a good time in choir. I ran into a old choir buddy last week in Kansas City.
Yeah. You could just break out in song.
No.
Like the good old days.
We were in competition choir together. We went to state.
Yeah. Were you a two-man barbershop choir?
No, we were I was a baritone and there was a bass. Then we had two tenors. He was one of the tenors.
Yeah.
And then we had a soprano. And
what about
altos.
you didn't have a fiver? You just had a tenor?
Yep.
No! I couldn't resist.
You and your dad jokes.
I love the dad
I'm
jokes.
surprised you're not a dad already.
Yeah, I wish I was, but c'est la vie, right?
C'est la vie.
That's French for such is life.
Que sera, sera.
What will be, will be. That is Spanish.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you going to think? You were going to say something earlier.
So yesterday I was at the gym.
Oh,
And there's absolutely nothing worse than a gym in January.
That's true. You get a lot of New Year resolutioners.
Yes, which got me thinking, as 2 or 3 of the Stairmasters were out, and they're all full. I had to wait in line like an idiot for like 5-10 minutes, waiting for one to free up. What if, got a business idea. So if you're listening to this right now, actually, if this makes the podcast and you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
got a great business idea. You ready for it?
Yeah.
So what if you got like a warehouse, like, gyms normally in, but you divided it up into like sections, like for example, like pretty much the size of like a racquetball court, and you got people to just reserve like an hour or two for their own private workouts or for their friends. And that way you would know if you reserve a room like that, you'd be guaranteed to use the equipment you want, and you would not be immersed with like every single person. What do you think about that? I think people would pay for that. Now, granted, I think a significant portion of people who go to the gym go there to be seen. But if you could establish this as like an exclusive gym for people who just want to work out, I think that model would work.
That's not a bad idea. I can get behind that. I mean, you would have to think that somebody's going to be like, here's the basic package. You get like a bench and maybe like a stair or an elliptical. And then if you want a bench and maybe like a pull-up bar, that is like $150 an hour.
Well, I guess, what I was thinking is you'd have the same equipment in every single room. So, like a squat rack, a bench, dumbbells, space to do like lunges and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe for like cardio and stuff, you'd have like, a giant space in the center, but like all the because how many times have you gone to a gym and had to wait for a squat rack?
Well, here's the thing. Last time I steadily went to a gym,
that's true. Yeah,
I was in college, and to be real honest, I kind of just forced my way through a squat rack.
Yeah, you were just like, look at me, guys. I'm Bo Hill.
I was like, "What's up, dude?"
I benched 350, so I'll get out of my way, or I'll bench you out the wall. I'll bench you to Pluto.
These are all very true. I had a nice little friend group that was in the college. I don't like gym culture, though.
I hate it.
I kind of got sick of it. But I think that's why I had a nice group of friends, is because they kind of like, I would dance around the gym and I wouldn't take it too seriously.
Like you would literally dance around the gym?
Oh, I would listen to weird music. Yeah. I mean, one of my best friends.
You would get your boogie on in the gym?
Oh, between sets.
Shake those hips?
And I would like pop my shoulder.
Do the Andre 3000 shimmy shake from White Noise?
Oh, yeah. Man, I was like him with a box of cookies. I watched that scene yesterday.
Where'd you
Just
find
for
it? Oh, it's on Netflix now.
the-
Yeah.
But I mean, you could watch the clip. Netflix channel has an actual
Okay.
clip of just the end credits
On YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty fantastic. The overall movie, though, I hate to say, my fellow book snobs, the movie was fine.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I like
And,
Adam Driver, Greta Gerwig, Don Cheadle.
Like we mentioned before, got to read the book before you see the film.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll think it's a completely crappy film.
That's the problem. It's
Yeah.
it's for a niche audience. So obviously, we'd watch it again.
Yeah.
I'd probably like it more the second time I watched it. It's just the fact that I'm not gonna have like people I know who are obsessed with Adam Driver. I'm not gonna be
No,
like,
yeah.
oh, you have to watch White Noise, because I have a hard time telling people exactly what White Noise is about.
Mhm.
I think I actually talk about it. Maybe
Was it one of your honorable mentions?
I think it is.
Yeah.
So I think I just jumped the gun a bit.
That's okay.
I can't remember.
But
Frick. I had something I was gonna say.
yeah.
Gym culture.
But yeah, I mean, back to circle it around though.
Right. You would be a guy on the Stairmaster.
I love the Stairmaster.
You do have a firm butt.
I mean, I don't have much of one. I'd like to think I have a very firm one, but I'd like to think I have a very firm derriere. But no, seriously, I do think that model would work, because there are people like me who aren't gym bros who just want to get in and get out. And if I knew I could reserve an hour and a half, or whatever, and everything would be available, I would be so much more efficient. And
Yeah.
especially, you could, I don't know if you would have like the same rate per hour based on how many people are using it, but maybe you could, if like 4 or 5 guys want to use a room, they give like discounted rate, but overall they pay more. For example, if it's like $100 an hour for a single person, for 2 people it'd be like, I don't know, 125, so they're each paying 75. I don't know. I'm just thinking wealthy people would pay money to be able to get in and get out,
Yeah, but wealthy people would also pay a lot of money for personal trainers.
Well,
what
the
I mean?
trainers could work in there too.
That's true. When I personal trained for
Bada bing, bada boom.
for a good like 5.5 months,
Yeah.
it was like the scale was really weird. It was $30 for 30 minutes, and then it would jump to about like $90 an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't understand. I was never really good at selling myself. I just knew that people liked hanging around.
And you really still aren't,
No.
as evidenced by our talk with the cigar man in Miami.
Our boy in La Havana. Yeah, he
Which-
called me out real quick.
He'd be very proud of us right now.
I have I know what I was going to say now.
Yeah. What
This
do
is
you
a
say?
nice little joke. I think a few people
Boom.
in our audience might appreciate this.
Okay.
Could I get a package of your proposed plan? That's a lot of P's. Of some random dude, albino-ish man, sitting on a paper towel dispenser who just watches me sweat and gets really close and says something super deep and then just licks the sweat off of my temple.
Would this man be named Lyle?
Yes. Can I get my own personal Lyle? I'll pay $200 an hour if I could get that.
And for those of you out here who just started listening to us and didn't really get that reference from the first episode, Lyle is a minor character in Infinite Jest. Very elusive character, but one that is yet very comical and kind of weird.
Oh, he's amazing.
But he dispenses wisdom like he dispenses towels. See what I did there? Boom.
That is a perfect segue into our topic for today. It's not, but we're dispensing knowledge.
We are dispensing knowledge. And some of you out there listening, we'll say all 8 of you. I think last time we said 6. Probably wondering why we have not had an episode in about a month. As DIY podcasters, we have to borrow equipment, and so we're in the process of trying to get our own. But limitations kind of happen. We were going to do it a couple weeks ago, but then we had a massive snow and ice storm, and the guy's studio we normally use, he's out of town, so
yeah, he's in California.
yeah. So we're back to our original digs
God bless him.
at a undisclosed school in an undisclosed location in an undisclosed city.
Yep. It's a half day,
It is.
and we're still got to be here for another hour.
We don't have to be. We'd like to be, though.
They want us to be.
Oh, yeah, shoot. I shouldn't have said that in case. If you are a Wentzville School District admin, disregard what I just said.
I'll edit it out. I'll have a
there
nice
you go.
little
There you
blurb.
go. Or maybe you won't because for comedic relief.
I won't. I say it's because like I have a punk DIY artistic integrity,
Yeah.
but it's also for the fact that I'm not that skilled.
Or
it takes too much editing.
Or could it be you're just a little bit lazy?
Dude, it might be that.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get going. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Ready to do this thing? Ready to put this in your pipe and smoke it, as my dad always says?
It wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, but no. So just to recap, so the last 2 episodes, we went through our top 10. So we were going to do honorable mentions last time around, but, we got iced in. So we thought we'd do that this time, as well as a little Christmas book exchange, which we were supposed to do in time for Christmas, but we're doing it now.
Better late than never.
Yeah. And I think we should start off, Bo. We did get one email,
Oh, no way.
but it was a form letter from a podcast service.
Fudge. Dang it.
But there's still no comments on the any of the YouTube videos.
That's also fine.
Yeah. But I'm I got to be honest, I'm a little disappointed because our first video got like 26 views. And then they got like 10 for the next one, and then it's been 0 for the last 5.
It's okay. People busy.
Which makes me think it was mostly those 26 views are from you and me.
I don't know, because I only opened it like twice.
Okay. Maybe it's my aunt or something. I don't know.
Maybe
We're going to get a bunch of listens from the book club I talked about. The Old People Book Club. Old Ladies Book Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, hopefully.
Anyway, you ready?
I am ready. Yeah, I thought we'd recap our top 10 each.
All right, you want me to go first?
Yeah, why don't you go first, Bo?
All right, number 10, Infinite Jest. Number 9, Stoner. Number 8, Great Expectations. Number 7, Jesus' Son. It's not about Jesus. It's about heroin. 6, To the Lighthouse. 5, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. 4, For Whom the Bell Tolls. 3, Slaughterhouse-Five. 2, The Divine Comedy. And 1, On the Road. My preferred version is the original Scroll.
It's a solid list right there.
I'm pretty proud of that list. And you can see the next few entries. I did a lot of thinking.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have your thinking cap on when you were doing all that thinking?
No.
All right. My top 10. Just to recap. Number 10, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Number 9, This Side of Paradise. Number 8, The Trial. Number 7, The Chronicles of Narnia series. Number 6, Wise Blood, which you're about to start.
Yes.
Number 5, Moby Dick. Number 4, Clockwork Orange. Number 3, Infinite Jest. Number 2, Invitation to a Beheading. And then number 1, Atlas Shrugged.
I'm pretty excited about Wise Blood.
Oh, you should be. Should be.
I'm reading a book, as well as the recognitions, which I've been cranking out.
Yeah, where are you at in that?
Otto just got
No,
arrested.
Oh, he gets arrested. What page number?
Apparently, you're not there yet.
No, I think I'm like on 520, 530 something.
Okay, I'm a little bit ahead of you now.
Yeah, I mean, I know you are because he doesn't get arrested. Although, to be fair,
How?
I don't really know what's going on half the time, so.
Oh, yeah. Get this. For all my fellow book enthusiasts and fans of Gaddis, there's a specific scene that has to do in a barn with Miss Janet and the bull and the town. What was it?
Like the name of the town?
No, it was
Oh, the town carpenter.
yes.
I got that.
Yes. And Brett didn't understand what was happening. And I've been trying to tell him that this is what happened. He's denying it. And I can't find the dang page.
I'm not denying it. because I know Stephen Moore referenced it,
Yeah.
but I asked you to see if you could find out
I
where it
can't find
was
the page
and then
anymore.
send it to me. Because, I mean, if we're being honest, Gaddis is all in the details.
That's
And if you
man,
miss the details, then it's really hard to find them again.
man.
But I know you picked up on it. So
Oh yeah, I've highlighted the crap out of that book.
you didn't highlight that section, though?
Because when I highlight something, it has to be like earth-shattering, exquisite prose, not something that
So not an exquisite circumstantial scene?
it was almost like a joke, but it was also a throwaway, I think.
Okay.
But I can't find it,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna put it in my Google
Well,
search
Yeah. I
because
mean,
Gaddis is like an underground type thing.
that is true. Yeah.
So I don't know what would happen.
Yeah. You know what else I forgot?
Don't say a bottle opener.
No. I forgot to open my Topo Chico,
That's true.
the unofficial sponsor of Once Upon a Tome podcast.
Yes, baby. Let's go.
We're just. When do you think they're actually going to sponsor us?
We get more than 26 views on anything. I would really just like to have somebody email me. I have so many baseball cards to give out.
Once Upon a Tome 22 at gmail.com. You can also follow us on the Instas, or the Insta. I meant to say the socials, but we have Instagram and Twitter, both at Once Upon a Tome 22.
I'm getting really into the Bookstagram stuff. There's a lot of good content out there. I'm not going to shout out any profiles right now, but there's a few that I'm really, like, I just check every day, see what they're doing. There's one out there reading the recognitions as well.
Oh,
I
really?
don't want to ask them about their opinions on it so far.
Maybe we should get them on.
I mean, I would definitely like to have some collaborators.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Anyway, let's get back on topic.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do today, we're going to finish our list. So we had a top 10, then 5 honorable mentions each. So we're going to go through those, and then we're going to do our book exchange.
Yes.
What about, is it like 3 weeks late? Christmas was on 25th. Today's the 12th.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, you ready?
So
Who do you want to go first?
I was thinking about this, though. Are we going to go 15 to 11 or 11 to 15? What are we going to do?
I mean,
What were you thinking we were going to do?
I thought we were just going to do like 5 honorable mentions.
No, I know. But I mean, so we have our top 10, and then
Right.
for me, honorable mentions like 11 through 15.
Oh, I was just going to do the honorable mentions 1 through 5 or 5 through 1.
Okay, yeah, so like 15 through 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Okay. So,
Why don't you go first?
well, yeah.
Or do you want me to go first?
No. Hold on a second.
Because I have
I
to
need
intro
to-
with my voice, you know.
That's true. I preface like my criteria that some of these are so close of being in my top 10. There's probably like 2 of them here that were definitely considered. But some of these are just books that I kind of just wanted to give a shout out to, at least. Or books that I am just enamored by, but not so much where I'm like, it is the greatest book of all time. But it does need to be talked about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, are you going to actually shout out their titles when you shout them?
No.
No.
But I have an extra topic or an extra pick right now, just because I just got done reading.
Would that be an extra, and an honorable mention? An HHM?
HHM, okay.
HHM, what's the reference there? TV show. It's the law firm in Better Call Saul.
I've never seen it.
Oh, gosh, you're missing
I've
out.
never watched Breaking Bad.
Better Call Saul is way better than Breaking Bad.
I think that is a hot take.
I mean, you're one to talk, given you haven't watched either of them.
Yeah, it's just so.
I'm putting you on notice, Bo. If you don't watch Better Call Saul for the next pod,
Put me on blast. Okay, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out. My HHM over here. Okay. I just got done reading The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. So I just wanted to talk about it. I think it's a fantastic and devastating novel. I had to watch a couple videos before I read it, some lecture videos I found that I think are fantastic, which kind of broke it down because the first chapter is super challenging. It's a deconstructed view on time. The narrative is all over the place, and it challenges everything about traditional Southern values, and it's just brutal. I mean, it's dark. Jason is one of the worst characters ever. Quentin is a tragic character, and Benji's just so sad. Anyway, man, Faulkner. If you didn't like As I Lay Dying, I guess try and read Sound and Fury because it is better. I think it's a tad bit better. I do, and I did love As I Lay Dying. I just know you don't really care that much for it.
But I will say, I read that like 10 years ago. Actually, I think I tried to read it during college, so that would have been probably close to like 13 years ago now. So I do have it on my shelf. I'm going to reread it.
Okay.
And give it another look.
Yeah, I was listening to the band. You know the the song The Wait.
Oh yeah.
They have the
going down to Bethlehem, something. Nazareth. That's the song. That's the rhythm, right?
You got it. But that's also the second song you've butchered on here. No, but then he goes like, "Go down, Miss Moses," and every time I see or hear that, I think of the Faulkner story, "Go Down, Moses." So I was like, I think I need to actually read The Sound and the Fury over break.
Yeah. If I remember right, the band, they're Canadian, aren't they?
A few of them are. Levon Helm is from Arkansas.
Okay.
But Robbie Robertson is a Canadian.
That's a lot of Robs in a name. Robbie.
Yeah, I know.
Robbie the robber.
So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. I thought The Sound and the Fury is a challenging novel. Think it should be read. It's terrible.
Nice
at times.
Yeah, I think the reason I didn't like Faulkner, I think the reason I didn't like him is because his style is so outside the norm of all the other Southern Gothic writers.
Yeah, but I think it's just
in terms of like construction.
Yeah, because it's mainly stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
So like him and Virginia Woolf were on a whole other like that whole movement I just adore. So if you got any recommendations of stream of consciousness writing like that, please send them my way because those are Virginia Woolf, one of my favorite authors. And if it's like in her style, I'm all for it. So, you ready for my number 5?
I am ready for your number 5. Coming in, number 5 honorable mention for Bo.
Inherent Vice by Thomas Pynchon. Or Pynchon. I think it's Pynchon.
I think it's Pynchon, yeah.
But anyway, this is a hoot. A hoot, I say, of a novel. It is just hysterical. I love the difference between highbrow and lowbrow art. The dichotomy of that. Obviously, like no one knows who Pynchon is, or like there's like a few pictures of him, but he's just like highly reclusive.
And even those are suspect.
Yeah.
Apparently he like lives in New York City but just kind of mingles with the masses.
Oh yeah, but I'm obsessed because I hate celebrity type culture, like people who worship celebrities just the fact that they're famous. So anyone who kind of like challenges that to be a pure artist without having to like pander to tabloid crap, I adore. And like Pynchon is a big name in his own, simply just because he refuses to do any of these sorts of things, and his work just stands alone. And I appreciate it. I appreciate that about him. But I think there's also a theory that Gaddis and him are the same person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's how I found Gaddis.
Well, I don't think if that was the theory. I think the theory might have been. Oh yeah, I guess yeah. Well, no, because they're both two real people, but Gaddis died. Pynchon's still alive. I think they're thinking maybe. Actually, no. I think you're right. Yeah.
I usually am about 3 times a day. So yeah. I love. It's got an interesting perspective, specifically around the counterculture, which is something. Is one of my favorite time periods in history. I mean, the times sucked, but the art and all that was fantastic. It kind of brought to light the hypocrisy behind both views of, conservative culture, keeping the law, and then, the free love nature, and how both of them can be pretty, problematic. It's an easy way of spilling drugs to the masses, controlling one's thoughts and opinions, maintaining a rigid status quo. That whole book just spews all that out and flips it on its head in this like zany and hilarious fashion. It doesn't glorify the hippies. The main character himself isn't really that great of a guy, but you fall for him just because he's just so relatable. So I got 2 quotes from it. Yet there is no avoiding time, the sea of time, the sea of memory and forgetfulness, the years of promise gone and unrecoverable, of the land almost allowed to claim its better destiny, only to the claim jumped by evildoers known all too well, and taken instead and held hostage to the future we must live in now forever. Pretty darn good, right?
It's really good, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Have you read it before?
No, I've read The Crying of Lot 49 and about half of Gravity's Rainbow. I think I'm going to revisit here in a little bit.
I'd like to read Gravity's
I think that'd be
Rainbow.
a good one to read together.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I also got another one by him I think we should read together, but here's another quote.
Okay.
As long as American life was something to be escaped from, the cartel would always be assured a bottomless pool of new customers. So, I picked those 2 quotes because, that's like the crux of the whole thing. You get a super serious, stream right there, talking about, time, evil, what men are capable of doing. And then he's just like, it's almost like Vonnegut in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you think, makes you laugh, and then it'll make you cry. But yeah, I just bought Mason and Dixon. So I think that'd be a good one to read.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because I'm looking at his bibliography right now. His most recent novel is Bleeding Edge, which was published in 2013. As far as we know, he's still alive. You think he's working on one final one?
No.
Why is that?
I have no evidence. I just, if I was as old as they say he was, I wouldn't want to work. I think he's just living it up.
Yeah, but yes, he writes for a living, but he doesn't need the money. So he's clearly doing this. He clearly writes because he loves it. He doesn't do it because it's just like a job.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we will see one last work by him in our lifetimes.
I didn't think Cormac McCarthy would be writing anything new, but he just
Case in point.
2. Yeah, I don't know. I just know that I wouldn't if I was his age.
Would you want to make a bet on this?
I would. What do you want to bet?
I'll buy you dinner, or a case of Topo Chico.
How about a pizza?
From Felix's?
Yes.
Boom.
No veggies. Felix's
Pizza Pub in Dogtown, St. Louis is also an unofficial sponsor.
Yeah, shout out.
Why didn't we? I don't think we had our cards at the time. We should sneak some cards there.
Don't tell them that. Now they'll be looking for it because they're cultured people over at Felix's Pizza.
Or I imagine it may happen like Salinger, where they find like a trove of unpublished things in like a vault or something when he dies.
Yeah, I guess you got a point. I was just never really that interested in Salinger.
Yeah, Catcher in the Rye is great.
That's pretty good. Unfortunately, sometimes I feel like I am Hayden Caulfield.
Yeah. I think everybody can connect with them in a sense, because in one sense or another, we're all hypocrites.
That's true. We're all phonies.
We're all phonies. We're all phony balonies.
Anyway, number 5 for Brett.
Right. So my number 5 honorable mention is The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides.
Hey, I know that name. Emma just bought that book. I saw it the other day. I've read Middlesex. Have you read Middlesex by Eugenides?
I have. I was not a fan of Middlesex.
I was.
But The Virgin Suicides was so good.
I haven't read it.
So it centers on the lives of 5 sisters, the Lisbon girls. It takes place in the 1970s up in Michigan. What I like about it is told from the perspective of an anonymous group of teenage boys who like live across the street, and so I like first person novels where he's like it's more like you hear the narrator talking the entire time. It's more observational, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this group of boys in the neighborhood who they struggle to find an explanation for the girls' deaths. So as the title implies, they all commit suicide. Not at once, but over time. So, but it was adapted into one of my favorite films. So it's the first film by Sofia Coppola. Coppola, yes, daughter of the great Francis Ford Coppola,
who is also working himself into some debt with Megalopolis. Have you read of anything about that's going on with that?
I don't have any updates. I know he would put like his life savings into a final magnum opus.
It's above budget. They're not on schedule, and they've had multiple crew members just walk out.
Oh, really?
Poor guy. You know the last time that happened? For him specifically?
What was it? One of the Godfathers?
No, it was Apocalypse Now.
Oh, really?
I was going to say it was Jack, starring Robin Williams, but it wasn't that. No, yeah, it was Apocalypse Now. One of the greatest movies of all time.
Oh, yeah. That opening scene, the helicopter's flying in, they're playing The End by the Doors. Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah. God, plus I'm going to rewatch that movie. Yeah, don't whisper about Apocalypse Now like that. Oh, yes. Yes, that helicopter shot with Jim Morrison's voice. Just, hello, my friend.
And if you've never seen Apocalypse Now, go out and watch it. Watch it in the dark, and you will see the creepiest person you've ever seen in Marlon Brando's character.
He read all of that off of like a diaper. He's not even acting. That's the weird thing. He's circling around everyone in that cast, and he's not even trying. That's how good of an actor Marlon Brando was. He's just reading off of cards.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I like Dennis Hopper in that movie.
Oh, yeah, he's in there. I forgot about that.
He's just like some nutty.
Well, and then, what's the guy's name? The real famous actor who's the commander who like surfs.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah,
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah, Robert Duvall is great in that too.
Yeah,
Hang 10, boys.
Charlie, don't surf.
But back to the virgin suicides.
Yeah.
So a little bit of background on it. So the father, Ronald, he's a math teacher at a local high school. The mother is a very, very strict homemaker. They're very strict parents. But they have 5 absolutely gorgeous blonde daughters. So 13-year-old Cecilia, 14-year-old Lux, played by Kirsten Dunst, 15-year-old Bonnie, 16-year-old Mary, and 17-year-old Therese. So where it all begins is Cecilia attempts suicide by slitting her wrists in the bathtub, but she was found in time and survives. So her parents take her to psychologists. Psychologists suggest the girls need more social interaction. So the parents, they allow the girls to throw a chaperone party in their basement, invite boys over and other friends. But sometime during the party, Cecilia sneaks out, goes up to her bedroom, jumps out of the window onto the fence post below, and absolutely impaled. That's how she commits suicide. Yeah. Have you seen the film?
No.
Oh gosh.
I need to though.
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst, Ashton Kutcher.
Isn't Hayden Christensen in it?
I think he may be.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, in the years that follow, it basically chronicles the stiffness of their parents in raising the girls versus their teenage rebelliousness. And there's these boys across the street that absolutely cannot figure out what's going on because the parents isolated the girls from the outside world. And so in the end, the 4 remaining girls make a suicide pact and they commit suicide. So local newspaper writer Linda Pearl notes that the suicides came exactly 1 year after Cecilia's first attempt and describes the girls as tragic creatures who were so cut off from life that death was not much of a change.
Okay.
So you ready for some quotes?
Oh, I love me some quotes.
The prose from Eugenides. Is it Eugenides or Eugenides? Eugenides?
I don't know. I've heard it all 3 of those ways from 3 different people.
Okay. So this one comes from, I believe, the opening chapter. It says, this is told from the perspective of the boys. It goes, quote, "It didn't matter in the end how old they had been or that they were girls, but only that we had loved them, and that they hadn't heard us calling, still do not hear us, up here in the treehouse, with our thinning hair and soft bellies, calling them out of those rooms where they went to be alone for all time, alone in suicide, which is deeper than death, and where we will never find the pieces to put them back together."
I dig it.
Yeah, it's
Reminds
just
me
like,
of American Pastoral.
yeah, like, these boys, like, there's this mystery about these girls that it follows them their entire life. So even when they're old, they still talk about them, because it's one of those things where there are no answers, at least no answers that are, revealed.
Right.
Another one is coming from the boys as well. They go, "We felt the imprisonment of being a girl, the way it made your mind active and dreamy, and how you ended up knowing which colors went together. We knew that the girls were our twins, that we all existed in space like animals with identical skins, and that they knew everything about us, that we couldn't fathom them at all. We knew, finally, that the girls were really women in disguise, that they understood love and even death, and that our job was merely to create the noise that seemed to fascinate them."
That's a good one.
I got one more.
All right.
So this one is not from the boys, just a random quote. So this was after Cecilia's first initial suicide attempt. It says, "Dr. Arminson stitched up her wrist wounds. Within 5 minutes of the transfusion, he declared her out of danger. Chucking her under the chin, he said, 'What are you doing here, honey? You're not even old enough to know how bad life gets.' And it was then Cecilia gave orally what was to be her only form of a suicide note, and a useless one at that, because she was going to live. 'Obviously, doctor,' she said, 'you've never been a 13-year-old girl.'"
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a good one line. Good
It is.
liner.
It is.
But yeah, so I read that book. I remember it specifically. I believe I think I was 21 or 22. But I was out in D.C. over the summer waiting for school to start. And I just sat on the porch and I read it in probably a day. I just could not put it down. It was unbelievable.
That's what happened to me with Jesus' son.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop. I pretty much read it that afternoon. But it's also a short book.
Yeah. I mean, the Virgin Suicides is not that long, but most things I read, I can pick up, put down, even if it's really good. But
Was that the last time a book like that had made you
hold
hold on to it and just keep on going?
that I can remember? Yeah.
Dang. Was that the first one?
Yeah, probably the one and only.
Huh. I think I've had 3 books that have been like that for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stoner was close, but not the level.
Yeah. Stoner
of
was
this.
pretty close. I remember not being able to put down Perks of Being a Wallflower when I was in high school. And instead of going out and hanging out on New Year's Eve, I pretty much just stayed at my house reading this book from sun up to sundown, and then it was 11:30 at night. I was like, "Oh crap, I gotta go."
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I love,
Yeah, no,
I love
I-
it when books do that.
I highly, highly recommend him. You could read it in a weekend.
I'll definitely do it.
And
Might be on my new 2023 reading list. I don't have a list.
2022, 2023.
2023.
I think you said 2020 and 2023, like you're trying to do
No,
2022, 20.
I just stuttered there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I started a few times. I was reading the quotes. You ready for your next one?
Oh yeah, this is
Coming in number 4, honorable mention for Bo.
This is a long one, and I apologize. But my number 4 pick is The Book of Evidence by John Banville.
I've heard the name Banville.
Yeah, I bought one of his books when we were on our
Okay.
minor league circuit,
Okay.
the blue guitar. So this is pretty much like a transgressive novel, and I picked this one just because we were talking about A Clockwork Orange. I recommend this for anyone who likes Camus and Dostoevsky because it's got the same sort of themes.
I do like those authors.
I know it. I know it. Anyway, this book was nominated for a Booker Prize, so you know it's freaking good. Unreliable narrator named Freddie Montgomery, who is given a dictionary in his jail cell and uses it to pontificate his way into a confession and strokes his ego a bit while doing it for the murder of a maid that he commits. And just pretty much the whole book leads up to the moment where he finally feels remorse for what he's done. This is an exhilarating book. It made me feel pretty gross reading it because Freddie is such a terrible, terrible character. But Banville's prose is just poetic, and he keeps getting like better and better. It's vastly different than some of his other works, specifically the ones before it. So he's pretty much known for another one called The Sea, and has like, just crazy, just crazily great. Prose, man. I can't even.
Is there any redemption for him at the end? Like, I know, like in Clockwork Orange,
No.
you know, most American audiences don't think there is, but
No,
in the chapter that was omitted,
because the book
he's
is
redeemed a little bit.
True. No, because the book is literally him confessing.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with like him feeling. You don't have to feel redemption. You're just reading him finally give into, whatever it is that he'd done.
Okay.
So I got unfortunately, some big quotes. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I love big quotes. Just like I love big books and I cannot lie. the motto of our podcast. And if you're lucky enough to get one of our cards, it does say on the bottom, we like big books and we cannot lie. But
Anyway,
back to Bo.
Here we go. By the way, leafing through my dictionary, I'm struck by the poverty of language when it comes to naming or describing badness. Evil, wickedness, mischief. These words imply an agency, the conscious or at least active doing of wrong. They do not signify the bad in its inert, neutral, self-sustaining state. Then there are the adjectives: dreadful, heinous, execrable, vile, and so on. They are not so much as descriptive as judgmental. They carry a weight of censure mingled with fear. Is this not a queer state of affairs? It makes me wonder. I ask myself if perhaps the thing itself, badness, does not exist at all. If these strangely vague and precise words are only a kind of ruse, a kind of elaborate cover for the fact that nothing is there, or perhaps words are an attempt to make it be there. Or again, perhaps there is something, but the words invented it. Such considerations make me feel dizzy, as if a hole had opened briefly in the world.
That's good. That makes me think of like if you make a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy for a long time, eventually what you end up with is going to look radically different than the original.
Absolutely. I mean, what's that paradox of the ship? If you have to keep replacing it, right? Is it the original ship or is it a brand new ship?
I don't know. I've never heard that.
Never heard it?
No.
Look it up. I'm not bull crapping here. Anyway,
No, I know you're not.
it makes me think of.
I mean, you read a lot more philosophy than I do.
It makes me. I don't know. Words give meaning. Words give power. The way that we understand reality is the fact that we can name something and give it some sort of identity. But if you go by the essence, my very, very ignorant view. Not ignorant. Excuse me. I'm not really, I'm like most people, I don't understand Hegel. But when he talks about essence, or when these philosophers talk about the essence of a thing, just because we named it a cat doesn't mean that it's a cat, right? It could be anything. It's just that our language is what's...
Yeah.
I'm trying to pontificate and act smarter than I really am. But it just makes me think of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I found the paradox you're talking about. I want to say I've heard of this before. It's called the ship of Theseus.
There we go. I was going to say
So-
Theseus.
So this site says Plutarch tells us the ship on which Theseus sailed within the youths and returned in safety. The 30-oared galley was preserved by the Athenians down to the time of Demetrius Phalereus. They took away the old timbers from time to time and put new and sound ones in their place, so that the vessel became a standing illustration for the philosophers in the muted question of growth. Some declaring the same, others declaring that it was not the same vessel. So basically, if you replace things here and there, and eventually over time everything is replaced, is it the same ship?
Yes. So it's interesting that that's what you kind of took out of that quote there, because I don't know. I think
Well,
about
it-
the knowledge of good and evil,
Yeah.
and being able to, I don't know. I'm just actually feeling pretty dizzy.
Well, I think also too with that quote, it almost, the way he wrote it is almost like it makes me think of, just like murderers and stuff who have the ability to compartmentalize. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, these are just words. Or like what I did, I just did, and I moved on.
Right.
Like,
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
what this freaking book did to me, man.
yeah. Did it give you the heebie-jeebies?
Oh, the heebie-jeebies. The chumbawambas. All right, here's another one. The myriad possibilities of the past lay behind me. A strew of wreckage was there, and all that. One particular shard. A decision reached, a road taken, a signpost followed that would show me just how I had come to my present state? No, of course not. My journey, like everyone else's, even yours, Your Honor, had not been a thing of signposts and decisive marching, but drift only, a kind of slow subsidence. My shoulders bowing down under the gradual accumulation of all the things I had not done. Got a little tongue-tied there, so I probably butchered that a bit. But the gradual accumulation of all things I had not done. So even though he's like they want to know his motive or anything like that, he's not willing to accept that he had one. Although it specifically states it's because it's a painting. He did this for some painting that was owned
Mm-hmm.
by his family that he just wants back because he needs money because he's on the run. He's refusing to acknowledge that. And even then, he's more worried about the regrets in his life. So there's that shred of like regretfulness in him.
Yeah. Of
What-
introspection.
Yeah, of what his life could have been. But he is so egotistical to even acknowledge that until like the very end.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yeah.
To do the worst thing, the very worst thing, that's the way to be free. I would never again need to pretend to myself to be what I was not. So that's the most chilling line for me.
Which I would say to that, it's like almost like he's admitting that, or he's positing that the way to be completely free is just to base your actions on your instincts,
Exactly.
which
And
is what got him in trouble in the first place.
that's the most frightening thing because he realizes all the capabilities. Just because we write rules and regulations and we can, be able to differentiate and describe and distinguish things, he doesn't care. He believes that in order to reach a higher state of being, he must transcend that through some violent means. And it just scares me. It just scares me. I was going to tie into I was going to tie it into Bob Dylan, but I don't think I will. He just becomes a primordial monster.
Why not? We have a Bob. You throw a Bob Dylan line in there every episode. We can't skip it this
but
time.
This would lead me to like a whole other thing, and I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
like
okay.
smart enough to actually tie the thread. I'm actually quite nervous about it.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, I was just going to talk about the Bob Dylan quote. To
Maybe-
live outside the law, you must be honest.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. Anyway, this is like a full 180 from that viewpoint, where it's just like, he believes that in order to be free, you must tear the whole law down and do the most destructive thing you can, which is take another life.
Okay.
And I was going to say that's pretty scary. That's
Yeah.
That's as deep as I'm going to get.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of, it's kind of cliche at this point, but, man is the most dangerous animal. Like from the most dangerous game.
Yeah. I've been reading another book that would challenge that theory, but it's like a psychology book talking about.
Well, no, I just mean like in the sense that, yes, you can. It's one thing to kill animals, to hunt them,
right?
Because they have no idea who we are, whatever. But just philosophically, beyond that, man is the ultimate animal, essentially. And so, like, there are people who murderers really that they kind of get off on that,
Yeah.
I just gave myself the willies.
I just gave myself the willies. Anyway, you ready for your number 4?
I am.
Number 4 for Brett.
So, Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote, written in 1958.
All right.
Yeah, I think most people are more familiar with the film adaptation with Audrey Hepburn.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Jack Lemmon's in that too, isn't he?
No,
he was in a different one. But anyways, so if you ever seen like the famous picture of Audrey with the black and white picture with her and a cigarette, leaning her elbows on a table, that's from Breakfast at Tiffany's. So this is probably Capote's, I would say, second famous work. Maybe it's kind of up there. Well, for sure it's up there with In Cold Blood, but like I said, I think more people have seen the novel or seen the film than read the novel. But basically, the basic gist of it is it's about a writer recalling his early days in New York City when he makes the acquaintance of his remarkable neighbor, Holly Golightly. So Holly Golightly is played by Audrey Hepburn, and she is universally known as one of Capote's best-known creations. I mean, just the name itself is awesome. Holly Golightly.
it just rolls off the tongue.
It does, and it's like it has the feel that it's at the same time like believable, but at the same time like it's completely fake. Mm-hmm. So basically, Holly, she's around age 18 or 19, we're not sure, but she's a country girl turned New York cafe society girl. She has no job, lives by socializing with wealthy men who take her to clubs and restaurants and give her money and expensive presents. And at the end of the day, she hopes to marry one of them. It's a very funny book. Like, for example, she doesn't even have a name for her cat. She just calls it Cat. Yeah, you remember this because you read it not too long ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's really upset about when she has to give the cat away, too.
Yeah. I believe wasn't it me who turned you onto it? You picked it up over on a road trip, didn't you?
Yep.
Do you know which bookstore you got it at? Remember?
No, I can't remember.
Shout out to that one random bookstore where Bo bought the Breakfast at Tiffany's. All right, so you ever some great one-liner quotes?
Oh, heck yeah.
So this is Holly. She goes, "Leave it to me. I'm always top banana in the shock department." Okay, another one. She goes, "Darling," she instructed me, "would you reach in the drawer there and give me my purse? A girl doesn't read this sort of thing without her lipstick."
I remember reading that one. I was like, that's good. I like that.
And then another one, she goes, "Everybody has to feel superior to somebody," she said, "but it's customary to present a little proof before you take the privilege." It's just like this girl who's like simultaneously comes off as like snobbish but like down to earth at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the big themes of the novel is like being authentic, like the authenticity in your search for personal happiness. So she's just trying to find happiness, through these various things in New York City. It's kind of a coming of age story, even though she's a little bit older. So here's a few quotes on that. It goes, quote, I'll never get used to anything. Anybody that does, they might as well be dead. It's kind of the idea of just you got to keep moving, or that there's more life in constantly experiencing new things than settling down, which that's obviously can be a huge philosophical debate. But another one, the answer to good things, the answer is good things only happen to you if you're good. Good? Honest is more what I mean. Be anything but a coward, a pretender, an emotional crook, a whore. I'd rather have cancer than a dishonest heart.
It's so like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like
spiteful.
Well, I don't know if I would take it that way.
I don't know. I mean, she's definitely like chastising everything. She's running away from her whole.
Well, she is running away from it, yeah, but I think, she wants to be perceived as real.
While also being a total fabrication.
Yes. And therein lies the irony of the book. And then lastly, a short quote. She goes, "Home is where you feel at home. I'm still looking."
Yep.
I think
we can all feel that way.
Most people feel that way.
Everyone feels wayward in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
wayward in a way.
Oh, I see what you did there.
That was actually really bad. There's no joke.
But yeah, I read that. It's a novella. You can read it pretty quickly. I read it probably 7 or 8 years ago, but it just always stuck with me.
It's a good one. I like Capote.
Yeah, I love Capote.
He doesn't like Kerouac though.
Yeah, I mean they're two completely different styles.
I know.
Next time
that is not that. That's not typing, or that's not writing. That's typing.
That's I'm trying to do a really good Capote impression, but that's about it.
Are you doing an impression of Capote or
Philip Seymour Hoffman as Capote?
Yeah.
Not going to do it again.
Next time we go down to NOLA, we got to hit up Capote's house and try to find Arcade Fire because they have a place down there.
Maybe not anymore.
Yeah, it's true. I still would like to see them in concert, though. They do make great music.
Yeah. I mean, their first 3 records or 4 records are just fantastic.
Whoa, what about We?
It was good.
I thought you
Pretty
told
solid.
me. When I text you, you go, it's
better than the last one.
okay.
It's pretty solid.
It's all pretty solid. I think it's like magical.
It was pretty solid.
No,
I just haven't visited in a while just because I'm so upset.
Because I remember like the first time I like really listened to it, I texted you and you go, "This is euphoric."
Yeah, it is euphoric.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But ever since like the whole thing's
Yeah.
been said, I don't know.
Well,
my
I
mouth,
think-
the taste in my mouth is just like
Yeah.
I'm just bitter.
Bo, can I make a recommendation? I know we've talked about this. Got to separate the art from the artist.
I know, but I also love debating that. And right now, I'm just choosing to step away from that whole thing. And I just don't want to think about it. You know what I mean?
Just don't think about it. Well, just listen to the music. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. I'll get there. I'll get back to the point where I want to listen to like Funeral again or Neon Bible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel deceived, and I can't accept that right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. If you're
I'll get over it.
If you're out there unaware, we're talking about, just look up Arcade Fire, Win Butler, and you should understand what we're talking about.
It's upsetting. That's all.
All right. You ready for your number 3?
Yes, sir.
Number 3, honorable mention for Bo.
My number 3 is Lincoln in the Bardo by the great George Saunders. Have you ever heard of him?
No, but I've heard of Bardo, which was a great film we watched a few weeks ago.
Yes, it is.
That will be a Criterion. I absolutely guarantee it.
I hope so, because people are sleeping on this freaking movie. It was way better than I was
No,
told.
we watched it at Bo's parents' house, and I was not aware that he was actually not all that excited to watch it until afterwards when he admitted it to me.
I just wanted to hang out with my pal.
Yeah.
I do like
I'll take it.
Inarritu. I think he's an exceptional director. It's just like everyone was talking about, like, oh, this movie's just, it's not
It
It's
does,
not as good. It's disappointing. I was like,
it's
what?
too all over the place.
But if you're talking about like
Yeah.
dense themes of mortality,
Yeah.
the afterlife, looking back upon one life, you can't talk about it in some structured way because we don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
We can only know about the experience, about perception right now. And I'm sure that if you're in a fever dream of that sort, things are not coherent. I digress. Lincoln in the Bardo by the great George Saunders, who was a short story writer. So this is his first novel. He's got one of the best essays, The Brain Dead Megaphone. Sometimes, I feel like I'm just brain dead and I just want to pontificate and spew my opinion out there. Man,
That's kind of what I feel every time
I'm
on a podcast.
yeah. Find that essay and read it because it's hilarious. He's one of the funniest writers. Super witty, yet enlightened prose. Leaves you laughing like a Monty Python skit. And then it'll leave you contemplating life and the hereafter like a Buddhist monk. The dude's like wicked into transcendental meditation. So I love him. I love him for that reason. He's one of my favorites. Follows the grief of Abraham Lincoln after his son's untimely death from illness. All true. And his wife's declining mental health. All true. Mainly follows the young Willie Lincoln's ghost in the Bardo, as he comes to terms with being dead with the help of like some wacky occupants around this graveyard. It has like Gaddis-like structure, JR type brackets, like a script. It's like super witty. It's a short read, relatively speaking. There's a lot of pages, but the way that it's structured, you can just blow right through it.
Yeah.
Dude, this book, it's fantastic. Fantastic. I just love. It's just not any fluff there. Everything is just killer, no filler.
Yeah, there's definitely no fluff in the recognitions.
None at all. Anyway, so here's some quotes. I actually have a lot of quotes from this one because this is one that I really
hit me with them.
Shoot, there's a lot more than I thought. I got carried away here. No one has ever done anything worth doing has gone uncriticized. Pretty.
Yeah, that's a fact because it's like anyone who's done anything momentous.
Yeah.
It's like it's the old adage. You're always going to have your detractors. You're always going to have haters going to hate. In the words of T Swizzle, a.k.a. Taylor Swift, for those people who
Tay-Tay.
aren't aware who T Swizzle is.
God bless.
Are you a T Swizzle? Are you a Swiftie?
No.
Yeah, I'm not really either.
No, I'm too pretentious for that. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
maybe I'm not as pretentious.
I mean,
I'm very self-deprecating.
She has
mood
some
right
catchy
now.
tunes, but
She can write some killer hooks.
yeah,
I mean, she's a
she's a star for a reason.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Anyway, another one. His mind was freshly inclined toward sorrow, toward the fact that the world was full of sorrow, that everyone labored under some burden of sorrow, that all were suffering, that whatever way one took in this world, one must try to remember that all were suffering, none content, all wronged, neglected, overlooked, misunderstood. And therefore one must do what one could to lighten the load of those with whom one came into contact. That is, his current state of sorrow was not uniquely his. Not at all, but rather, it's like had been felt, would be felt, by scores of others, in all times, in every time, and must not be prolonged or exaggerated, because in this state he could be of no help to anyone, and given that his position in the world situated him to be either of great help or great harm, it would not do to stay low if he could help it.
That's really good.
It kind of makes you think about Lincoln, because, in our country, we are pretty much taught history through the likes of great men, and we like to think that they are an infallible people, and they never had any type of grief thought or anything like that, but they had to make the hard decisions, and they just stoically went through it. And to see this man who was a leader of this country have that kind of internal dialogue in his head, good night, mamacita.
Yeah.
I love it. You ready for the next one?
I am, yeah. Sorry. I had to, as you could tell by my facial expression, I was about to sneeze, but I held it in just for you.
Thank God.
Just, if you're listening to this on headphones, I held it in for you too.
You're welcome. Only then, nearly out the door, so to speak, did I realize how unspeakably beautiful all of this was. How precisely engineered for our pleasure, and saw that I was on the brink of squandering a wondrous gift, the gift of being allowed, every day, to wander this vast sensual paradise. This grand marketplace, lovingly stocked with every sublime thing. What I mean to say is, we had been considerable, had been loved, not lonely, not lost, not freakish, but wise, each in his or her own way. Our departures caused pain. Those who had loved us sat upon their beds, heads in hand, lowered their faces to tabletops, making animal noises. We had been loved, I say, and remembering us, even many years later, people would smile, briefly gladdened at the memory.
Okay.
I know I said that there was a lot of funny things in here, but it's I think all of mine are pretty deep. Here's another one. He came out of nothingness, took form, was loved, was always bound to return to nothingness. Only I did not think it would be so soon, or that he would precede us. Two passing temporarinesses developed feelings for one another. Two puffs of smoke became mutually fond. I mistook him for solidity, and now must pay. I am not stable, and Mary not stable, and the very buildings and monuments here not stable, and the great city not stable, and the wide world not stable. All are altering in every instant. Are you comforted? No.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's like, it's a kind of postmodern in a way,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's
where it's like
the
everything,
structure of this thing.
everything is fluid. There's no certainty in anything. I can see that.
You ready for another one?
Hit me with it.
And there was nothing left for me to do but go. Though the things of the world were strong with me still, such as, for example, a gaggle of children trudging through a side-blown December flurry, a friendly mat share beneath some collision-tilted street light, a frozen clock, bird visited within its high tower, cold water from a tin jug, toweling off one's own clinging shirt, post-June rain, pearls, rags, buttons, rug tuff, beer froth, someone's kind wishes for you, someone remembering to write, someone noticing that you are not at all at ease. Here we go. A bloody roast death red on a platter, a hedge top underhand as you flee late to some chalk and wood fire smelling schoolhouse. Geese above, clover below, the sound of one's own breath when winded. The way of moistness in the eye will blur a field of stars. The sore place on the shoulder resting toboggan makes. Writing one's beloved's name upon a frosted window with a gloved finger. Tying a shoe. Tying a knot on a package. A mouth on yours. A hand on yours. The ending of the day. The beginning of the day. The feeling that there will always be a day ahead.
The writing kind of reminds me of Hemingway.
Yeah, in a sense, doesn't it?
I mean, even though he used a lot of metaphors and similes there, like, you still get this sense that it's kind of like matter of fact, you know?
That's what I'm saying, man. It's all killer, no filler. No word is unnecessary. It just rolls off the tongue and it just slips on through and it makes you just care about the little things. I mean, it's like if Hemingway was a Buddhist mixed with Vonnegut humor. Had to burp there. Oh, there we go. So anyway, read Lincoln in the Bardo.
What do you remember? You know what year it was published?
Fairly recently.
Oh, is it a contemporary one?
Oh yeah,
Let me see.
he's been around for a while though.
He says Lincoln and the Bard.
Bardo.
Lincoln and the Bardo.
In the Bardo.
In the Bardo. 2017.
Yep.
Okay.
Modern day classic, baby. I would definitely read it.
Yeah, it was Saunders' first full-length novel.
He just writes short story collections, and those are fantastic as well.
Okay.
All right, you ready for your number 3?
Yes. My number 3 is going to go very, very quickly.
There we go. Number 3 for Brett.
For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Hey, there we go.
And we've already covered this.
Yes.
So listen to our last episode, and you'll hear Bo pontificate on it. And I could not agree more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And I'm pretty sure all 3 of my quotes you quoted. So
Go back and listen to that then.
yes. So now back to you.
Back to me. Yay.
Are we on number 2 or 3 for you? 2?
2.
Number 2 for Bo.
East of Eden
Oh, Steinbeck.
by John Steinbeck.
I told you about my Steinbeck experience, right, on my road trip?
No.
I think I did. Maybe I just forgot. Or maybe I just actually didn't.
I don't think you did.
But I was driving down the California coast.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. And I was super excited to stop in Salinas, where he's from, where he grew up, because the truck that he fashioned for Travels with Charlie is in the museum there, which is on the campus of Cal State. I forget what was it? Cal State? Oh, anyways, one of the Cal States. And because it was COVID, I parked, I walked out, and then I walked up to the door, and there was a sign that says, "We are closed for COVID. Please come back later. Or please check our website." And then I went to his childhood home, and there's a little store in the basement, and there's a little sign that said "Oh, the store will be open at 1:00." I waited till 1:30. It wasn't even open yet. Just
That sucks.
But anyways, continue on with East of Eden, because I've read Grapes of Wrath, never read East of Eden. So enlighten me.
This is considered his magnum opus. Steinbeck is quoted as saying, "It has everything in it I have been able to learn about my craft or profession in all these years." And later said, "I think everything else I have written has been, in a sense, practice for this." So last January, I don't know if you remember it, but I was out because I had COVID, so I had to quarantine and all that.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I also was having these really terrible stomach pains, and I thought my appendix was gonna burst or something. It turns out that I had ulcers, or an ulcer, and so I had taken off of work, and I spent roughly 6 hours at the hospital, and I brought this book with me, and I finished it while I was at the hospital. I had already started at this point, but I think I read over 200 pages.
Yeah, I was going to say, you read over 500 pages in 6 hours? What are you, a machine?
I would just be sitting there on this hospital bed, and they were expecting me to be on my phone or something, and they would just be like, "So what you reading? East of Eden?"
What's that?
What's that? It's by John Steinbeck. Did you ever read Of Mice and Men? Oh, yeah. I didn't know he wrote anything else. Yeah. He's considered.
And that about sums
Thanks.
up American life.
Yeah. Gosh. Anyway, pretty much the story of Genesis / Cain and Abel in a very cyclical way. Story connecting the Hamilton family and the Trask family in California. The father, Adam Trask, is abused by his stronger, younger half-brother in Connecticut, and then has to move out west.
It's about migrant workers, right?
No. Not really.
No, that's great. No,
That's Grapes of Wrath.
That's right. Okay.
Anyway, there's this one of the most evil characters of all time named Kathy, and Charles, his brother, and his father is, a deplorable person as well. I mean, he comes from a family of just wicked people, or is connected. And he's just this sweet, humble old man. He just, wants to care about everybody. His father lies about his status as a general in the United States Army, but he's like a expert in military strategy, even though he never fought in anything. He just pretends like he did. His brother is an abusive, and he probably slept with this Kathy woman that Adam ends up falling in love with, and then she's just, oh man. You want to talk about like when you read this book, you kind of just like see, in my mind's eye, when I picture something, like when she gets on this certain tangent, you can just see like the wall closing in and the lights dimming down, where the only thing you see is like two tiny little dots of light on her eyes, and her irises are just black except for those two dots, and you're just like, ooh, man, this is heavy. I've felt betrayed like this before. I love the philosophical chats that the Samuel Hamilton, who takes Adam Trask under his wing, has, and as well with Lee, Adam's not necessarily assistant, but like housekeeper. He helps raise his two boys that he had with Kathy, but they all might also be his brother's sons. They don't know.
Okay.
Because Kathy slept with Adam's brother. Anyway, the word Timshel comes up a lot, over and over again, which Lee translates as "thou mayest," and it becomes an important symbol in the novel, especially with Cal later on, meaning that mankind is neither compelled to pursue sainthood nor doomed to sin, but rather has the power to choose its path. And this I believe, that the free exploring mind of the individual human is the most valuable thing in the world, and this I would fight for, the freedom of the mind to take any direction it wishes, undirected. And this I must fight against, any idea, religion, or government which limits or destroys the individual. This is what I am, and what I am about. So here's some quotes for you. When a child first catches adults out, when it first walks into his grave little head that adults do not always have divine intelligence, that their judgments are not always wise, their thinking true, their sentences just, his world falls into panic desolation. The gods are fallen and all safety gone, and there is one sure thing about the fall of gods. They do not fall a little. They crash and shatter or sink deeply into green muck. It is a tedious job to build them up again. They never quite shine, and the child's world is never quite whole again. It is an aching kind of growing. Pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always loved Steinbeck's prose.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I need to read Grapes of Wrath, but I loved Ev Meissen, man.
Yeah. Well, you never read Grapes of Wrath?
No, I haven't. I like the cinematography of the movie, though. Have you ever seen it with Henry Fonda? The cinematographer's name was Greg.
I want to say I have, but I don't really
Toland.
recall any images in my mind, so maybe I haven't.
It has one of my favorite stills of all of cinema.
Yeah. James Dean's in East of Eden, isn't he?
Yeah, I honestly, after reading the book, I don't like the adaptation. Elia Kazan directed it. No, but Grapes of Wrath is the cinematographer was the great Greg Toland. I just want to shout him out. Genius, wicked genius. Next one. Do you take pride in your hurt? Does it make you seem large and tragic? Well, think about it. Maybe you're playing a part on a great stage with only yourself as audience. A poor player that struts upon the stage. How you like that?
Was that part of the quote?
No, it was just me showing you.
No, it's like, everybody
through humor that there was a parallel to Shakespeare.
Well, I don't know Shakespeare. I don't like Shakespeare, so.
Neither do I. And I went to theater school.
So you're a thespian. You just went to a thespian conference.
Light.
But no, back to that quote, it's, everybody's inherent tendency from birth is to think they're the center of the world.
Oh, absolutely.
And in reality, there's 8 billion people, so you're not.
That's just because your brain has to develop.
Well, even when you're developed.
Well, I mean, some people just don't grow out of that. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's inherent tendency.
Yeah. Anyway, you ready for another one?
I am ready. I just noticed you wearing a New Orleans Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, so I am. Mm-hmm.
Boom.
It's pretty nice, right?
You didn't get that when we were on our trip, right?
No, I got this from my dad.
Why are you dancing over there like a little showman? You need a boater hat on.
All right, you ready?
Is that how you danced in the weight room when you went to the gym regularly?
No, I just like move my hips and then like my arms would just like flail about.
Yeah.
I'm really good with dancing on a chair. I can't dance with like my whole body.
Yeah.
I'm only like halfway can do. Anyway, here's another quote.
Okay.
It seems to me that if you or I must choose between two courses of thought or action, we should remember our dying and try so to live that our death brings no pleasure to the world.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because you don't want a lot of people celebrating that you died at your funeral.
No, or I mean, I looked at it. I look at it another way. Like he's saying that you want to have such an impactful life that people will be sad you're gone.
Exactly. You don't want anyone to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, exactly. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, I guess we are.
Last one. Here we go. This is a good one. The church and the whorehouse arrived in the far west simultaneously, and each would have been horrified to think it was a different facet of the same thing. But surely they were both intended to accomplish the same thing. The singing, the devotion, the poetry of the churches took a man out of his bleakness for a time. And so did the brothels.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's pretty good, right? I like it.
Yeah.
Blending the sacred with...
Yeah, I mean, humans are meant to worship something, and you either worship God or you worship sex or anything else, you know?
You either worship God or you worship the flesh.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, if you, I don't say dumb it down enough, but I guess if you break it down enough, yeah, you worship God or you worship the flesh.
Yeah. Reach the sacred through the profane.
Well, I don't believe you can do that, but maybe it could be a step along the way, but you're not getting towards God by sinning.
Tomatoes. This is a good topic for another day because we
It
have
is.
a whole other.
Yeah.
Number 2 for Brett.
This is also going to be a short one.
All right.
Stoner by John Williams, which we talked about last episode because I think it was top 5 or top 10 for you, Bo?
Top 10.
That's right. And then it was one of my top 5, I believe. Anyways, we both had our top 10 list. No. Yeah, you had it in your top 10. I have an honorable mention, so we already talked about it, but go read it. It's a good book. It
It's one of the best.
takes place University of Missouri.
Missouri still sucks.
Basically about a professor's life. Very, very prose is some of the most beautiful I've ever written, and
Yeah, John Williams, the writer, not the composer.
not the composer. And I promise you, my number 1 honorable mention is one that I can actually talk about
All right,
that has not been talked about yet.
my number 1 is going to be pretty thick again. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Coming
you
in at
people.
number 1 for Bo.
Number 1 is The Moviegoer by Walker
yes,
Percy.
yes.
This is what Infinite Jest just barely scraped out of the barrel. So, I love this book. And I loved it the more I thought about it after I finished it. Because when I was first... This is one of the greatest novels of all time. One of the greatest Southern novels of all time. I have a friend that we both work with who introduced this movie to me. Or not the movie, this book to me. Because he said that I reminded him of Binks Bowling. And I didn't understand that at first. Because I was like, well, I'm not a Southerner. But I mean, it was just because of how much out of life this man is fearful of. And the phenomenological and philosophical and existential questions that he has throughout the whole novel. And I was like, dang, this is how I live my life. This is kind of sad. Anyway, Novel is heavily influenced by the existentialist themes of authors like Soren Kierkegaard. So there's a lot of metaphysical stuff in here. It can be read as a changing of Southern values, and it does challenge all that. It takes place in New Orleans, hence why I'm wearing this shirt.
Oh, I see now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, loose plot of the novel follows the moviegoer Binks, who's obsessed with movies. He's in desperate need of a spiritual redemption, and I feel that. At Mardi Gras, he breaks out of his caged everyday life and launches himself on a journey, a quest in a search for God. Without any mental compass or sense of direction, he wanders the streets of New Orleans, French Quarter, and Chicago, my other favorite city, and then travels the Gulf Coast, interacting with his surroundings as he goes. He has philosophical moments reflecting on the people and things he encounters on the road, and he is constantly challenged to define himself in relation to friends, family, sweethearts, and career, despite his urge to remain vague and open to possibility.
Yeah, I read it within the last year for sure. I think I read it.
I think I recommended it too.
Yeah, you recommended it to me, and then I think I picked it up on the trip.
Yeah.
Either I picked it up on the road trip or on the minor league circuit.
I think it was a road trip.
Yeah.
Because we were in New Orleans, and I was like, yeah. Movie goer.
Yeah. Well, especially because Walker Percy was heavily responsible for getting Confederacy of Dunces published.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I read it, and I remember it being really good.
I think I remember
what.
I think I know what your number one is.
What? Because you can read my paper?
No. No.
But I remember, because I know, based on the back cover and the title, so it talks about a guy who just goes to movies every day, and there's not a whole lot of the novel that takes place in the movie theater.
Nope.
Just kind of lightly mentions that he goes frequently or loves them.
He's a fan. He's a fanatic.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely relate to him. God bless. Anyway, here's some wonderful, wonderful quotes.
Enlighten me.
What is the nature of the search, you ask? The search is what anyone would undertake if he were not sunk in the everydayness of his own life. To become aware of the search is to be onto something. Not to be onto something is to be in despair. For some time now, the impression has been growing upon me that everyone is dead. It happens when I speak to the people. In the middle of a sentence, it will come over me. Yes, beyond a doubt, this is death. There's little to do but groan and make an excuse and slip away as quickly as one can. At such times, it seems that the conversation is spoken by automatons who have no choice in what they say. I hear myself or someone else saying things like, in my opinion, the Russian people are great people, but, or, yes, what you say about the hypocrisy of the North is unquestionably true, however, and I think to myself, this is death. Lately, it is all I can do to carry on such everyday conversations because my cheek has developed a tendency to twitch of its own accord. That's how I feel every time I have to make small talk. I'm not good with small talk.
Your cheeks twitch?
Yeah, or my eye twitches. Yeah. I do the Billy Idol, lip quiver. So, anyway.
I'm actually impressed you can do that on command. I can't. Am I doing it?
My dad was really into Billy Idol, so had a lot of his CDs, and I would mimic it in the mirror until I got it right.
Can you lift up one eyebrow?
Just my right one.
Yeah, you're doing it. I don't think I can.
I can't do my left one. I can't. I'm not a good winker though. My other one.
Yeah, I can wink my right eye. I can do my left if I force it, but
apparently
it's not very smooth.
We're just winking at each other.
Two guys winking at each other.
Really terrible.
In a room alone.
So terribly low. All right. Here's another one. Warning on this one. They all think any minute I'm going to commit suicide. What a joke. The truth, of course, is the exact opposite. Suicide is the only thing that keeps me alive. Whenever everything else fails, all I have to do is consider suicide, and in 2 seconds I'm as cheerful as a nitwit. But if I could not kill myself, then I would. I could do without Nembutal or murder mysteries, but not without suicide. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, I guess the idea, like
Heebie-jeebies.
like because he can do it, he knows he's in control.
Yeah, that's all he wants. He just wants control.
Yeah.
But all these questions that he has are things that are outside of his control. Takes him
Yeah.
out of the moment. That's why
It's the
you know,
paradox.
God bless. I love this this
Yeah.
character, man. Oh, jeez. Here's another one. Ours is the only civilization in history which has enshrined mediocrity as its national ideal. Others have been corrupt, but leave it to us to invent the most undistinguished of corruptions. No orgies, no blood running in the street, no babies thrown off cliffs. No. We're sentimental people, and we horrify easily. True, our moral fiber is rotten. Our national character stinks to high heaven, but we are kinder than ever. No prostitute ever responded with a quicker spasm of sentiment when our hearts are touched. Nor is there anything new about thievery, lewdness, lying, adultery. What is new is that in our time, liars and thieves and whores and adulterers wish also to be congratulated by the great public. If their confession is sufficiently psychological or strikes a sufficiently heartfelt and authentic note of sincerity. Oh, we are sincere, I do not deny it. I don't know anybody nowadays who is not sincere.
It kind of reminds me of Catcher in the Rye. We're all phonies.
Right?
Yeah.
A little bit more sophisticated, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, Holden Caulfield's what, like 11 or 12?
Nah, did I say Hayden earlier? Freaking Holden.
Yeah.
God, I just freaking hate.
But
Dang
yeah.
it.
No, I mean, yeah, because
Sorry.
Catcher in the Rye is told from his point of view.
What am I thinking?
And you're even a literature podcast host. I mean, how did you get this position anyways?
Well, it wasn't democratically.
No. But yeah, no, it was good. It's like, a more mature way of saying that.
Exactly. Here's another one. Not as angsty, I would say. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, some people pronounce it angst.
You would pronounce it angst.
No, I say angst because it's easier to say.
Yeah, we have a really weird A's in the Middle West. I don't quite know what we're doing on this insignificant cinder spinning away in a dark corner of the universe. That is a secret which the high gods have not confided in me. Yet one thing I believe, and I believe it with every fiber of my being. A man must live by his lights and do what little he can and do it as best as he can. In this world, goodness is destined to be defeated. But a man must go down fighting. That is the victory. To do anything less is to be less than a man.
That's really good.
Right? That's what I always tell kids.
do-
If I
to-
got to go out, baby, I'm going out swinging.
To do anything less is less than a man, or being less than a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to keep going, keep fighting.
But that's also the weird, what I find me and Binks and, probably a lot of others out there, who want to try their best at understanding reality and understanding what anything, even is, are just under a losing battle, because even if we did find out, we probably wouldn't be satisfied with that answer. But it's also a thing that we just can't simply understand at the moment. So we're just constantly just hitting a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
God bless. Anyway, Infinite Jest just barely scraped that out. Fantastic. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Number 1 for Brett.
Boom, boom, boom.
I'm saying it's
Sophie's Choice.
oh, that's not what I thought it was gonna. Dang it.
1979 by William Styron.
I thought you were gonna say Confederacy of Dunces.
No. I thought about it.
I know you would.
But no, I read this about a year ago, and it is possibly the most beautiful prose I've ever read. But it was the National Book Award in 1980, and it was made into a film in 1982 with Kevin Kline and Meryl Streep. Shout out to Kevin Kline, St. Louis native.
Yeah.
So basically, the overall plot So plot centers around Stingo. He's a young aspiring writer from the South who comes to New York, and he meets a Jewish scientist, Nathan Landau, and his lover, Sophie. And she is a Polish Catholic survivor of the German Nazi concentration camps. So Stingo befriends her. So a couple additional items of the plot. So Sophie's father, he learns, is anti-Semitic, or was anti-Semitic. And the relationship between Sophie and Nathan is very, very unstable. It's one of those relationships where it's very intense on both ends of the spectrum. They have knockout, drag-out fights, and then the next minute they're all over each other.
Okay.
So basically, it's a very constant thing that their relationship is up and down. So some background on it. Okay, so it's frequently banned because it's frequently banned because of sexual content, but it's mostly banned for Styron's controversial views on the Holocaust.
Oh.
Have you heard about these?
No.
So yeah, it's banned in whole countries like South Africa and Poland for the way it framed his views. So I don't think it's banned anymore, but when it was first published, it was banned. So in an essay entitled "The Holocaust According to William Styron," Alvin Rosenfeld writes, "While Styron acknowledges Jewish suffering under the Nazis, he insists on seeing Auschwitz in general or universalistic terms as a murderous thrust against mankind or the entire human family, as he sees his own role as correcting the view that the Holocaust was directed solely or exclusively against the Jews by focusing attention on the many Christians, and particularly the Slavs, who also perished in the camps."
I had no idea about any of that.
So, I mean, yeah, the vast majority of people who died and were in concentration camps were Jewish, but there were also non-Jewish people in there.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks to bring attention to that and kind of frame it in a whole new lens.
Interessante.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the main theme is the overall evilness of man. Like, left unchecked, man is just evil.
Okay.
So I have two quotes. Both are from Stingo, because a lot of the novel is written in the first person. He goes, quote, "Someday I will understand Auschwitz. This was a brave statement, but innocently absurd. No one will ever understand Auschwitz. What I might have set down with more accuracy would have been, someday I will write about Sophie's life and death, and thereby help demonstrate how absolute evil is never extinguished from the world. Auschwitz itself remains inexplicable. The most profound statement yet made about Auschwitz was not a statement at all, but a response. The query, 'At Auschwitz, tell me where was God?' And the answer, 'Where was man?'"
Dang, dude, that's heavy.
Yeah, it's a heavy book.
Dang.
Yeah.
Where was man?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't look to God. Where were you? Falling for it. Jeez. When was this book written?
79.
What?
1979.
The book?
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't think it was that late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Styron, but I believe he was an atheist.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And the next final quote says, quote, "As if the suffering Stingo who once inhabited me, learning at first hand and for the first time in his grown-up life about death and pain and loss and the appalling enigma of human existence, was trying physically to excavate from that paper the only remaining, perhaps the only bearable, truth."
This is a dense novel.
It's a very dense novel. And yeah, I mean, that's the big theme is just like, like Auschwitz and just the evilness of mankind left unchecked. How our default is always going to be evil.
Well, that's a heavy, dark, cynical way of viewing us.
Yeah.
You're very capable of a lot of evil. How do we deal with it? All questions for another day at a table of knowledge.
For another day, indeed.
Yes. Anyway.
Any final thoughts before we move on to the book exchange?
No, we got pretty dark. Let's lighten it up.
Boom. Let's exchange some books.
I'll go first.
Well, wait. Okay. I have to close my eyes though because Bo didn't wrap his.
You don't want to see my rapping skills, dude.
We could just put it in a bag. Okay, let me know what you're taking out. I'm gonna close my eyes.
All right, close your eyes.
Okay, I'm gonna reach my hand out.
Reach it out. Stick your microphone out towards your hand. A little farther back. No, your microphone. Hand forward. There you go. There we go. I wanted to get good audio of that.
My eyes are still closed. Looking through it.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Okay. There's some dog-eared pages in here, Bo.
No, I was just used.
Okay. Let's see. Thickness, texture. Trying to guess what it is. Trying to think. Shit, I might not even be talking in the microphone. I apologize if you could not hear me there. Let's see. What have we talked about, or what have I mentioned?
It's nothing like you've mentioned.
I haven't mentioned it before.
No, but it's something you'd like.
Is it from an author I've read before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it can't be any Ayn Rand stuff because I have all of hers.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy you that anyway.
Oh, please don't tell me this is Howard Zinn's History of America.
No, it's not thick enough, dude. Come on,
All right, my eyes are opening. Oh, nice.
What is it?
Girl with Curious Hair by David Foster Wallace. Is it an essay collection?
I don't know what it is, man. But I saw it, and it was either that or another one, and I picked that one up.
Yeah. I believe maybe maybe it's his short stories. Yeah, it's a collection of David Foster Wallace's short stories.
Heck
Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited. Ooh. Where'd you pick this up at?
Chesterfield Half Price Books.
Nice. Half Price Books is awesome.
I like Half Price Books.
It's one of those rare bookstore chains that does it right.
I bought a translation of Don Quixote from there, as well as Mason Dixon.
Yep.
And another book, and it was like less than $20. And I bought one book from Barnes and Noble in the same trip, and it was $17.
Yeah.
I bought like 3 books. I was like, "You kidding me?"
We should do Don Quixote on here.
I really want to.
Maybe after Proust.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Considering Proust will probably take us better part of, I don't know though, maybe better part of a year. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's 3,500 pages, but the pages themselves are not as large as Infinite Jest or The Recognitions. Bo, I appreciate very much.
You're welcome.
Once more again for the listener.
Oh. Right.
All right, Bo. Now I can hand you your book
Look how
because it's wrapped up.
look at this
Christmas wrapping paper.
professional type
Courtesy of
wrapping
Costco.
here. Costco, baby. Got a little bit of your hair on the tape.
I did.
Oh, I'm putting that in my pocket and making a wish. Here we go.
Yeah, got to get the microphone so you can hear him opening.
Oh, hey. What you know, what you say. Dang. Did you steal this from a library?
No, I got it online. It was an ex-library copy, and in complete transparency,
Oh.
I have a copy at home that's soft cover, and I was thinking about giving you the soft cover and keeping the hardcover, but I was like, you know what? I have to do the right thing. I got to give Bo the better copy, so I'll give him the hardcover.
That's why you're a good old friend of mine. Anyway, so everyone, he got me the Neon Bible by John Kennedy Toole.
So he wrote this when he was 16.
Yeah.
And I read it shortly after our trip. Like I texted you, I think I read it in a weekend. It was so good.
Yeah.
So the first half is good. Was not all that impressed with it, but the last half is just unbelievable.
All right, I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's from Plymouth Public Library, Plymouth, Indiana.
Not the
46563.
not to be confused with Plymouth, Massachusetts, where the pilgrims.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of tongue tied today. But and according to John Kennedy Toole,
Which you also got on our trip
I did at the
from Judy Bloom.
yes, from her bookstore. There is rumored out there to be one last manuscript from John Kennedy Toole, but it has not yet appeared. So.
I bet you it appears before we see any more Thomas Pynchon.
Ooh.
And I'll bet you Felix's Pizza on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So, we will for sure do an episode when we both get around to reading our individual books or gifts. I'm currently almost done with Brideshead Revisited, and then I think because I don't know if I mentioned on air, but I know I mentioned to you that I was going to read Pale Fire next by Nabokov.
Yeah.
But I'm actually going to change my selection because since Emily is coming out shortly about Emily Bronte, and our good friend Steinbrugge is going to come with us to see the show.
True.
I told her I would read some Bronte, so I'm probably going to read Wuthering Heights.
That's Hemingway's one of his favorite books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has a lot of praise for it.
Nice.
I tried reading it once a long time ago.
You tried? Didn't make it through?
No, and I think it was just I was too young. I think I was like 16.
No, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Wuthering Heights and I have Jane Eyre on my shelf, but Wuthering Heights is like half the size, and I figure since the film's coming out shortly, probably better for the quick read. Have you read any besides Wuthering Heights?
Just some excerpts. Never read Jane Eyre or anything like that. I like the Bronte sisters' story and all that.
Wait, there's two of them?
No, the Bronte sisters.
Charlotte
and Emily.
Oh, they're related? I didn't put that together.
No, I'm like fairly certain.
Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte? Well, let me look it up.
Common is the last term or last name Bronte.
Well, I don't think it's pronounced Bronte.
Bronte.
Let me see here. I'm currently, because of the interwebs. Emily Bronte. Yeah, so it says Emily was the second youngest of the 4 surviving Bronte siblings. Yeah, it says the sisters Charlotte, Emily, and Anne are well-known poets and novelists.
Huh. I'm right. 3 times a day. I got one more for me, baby.
Thank you, Wikipedia, for enlightening me. Enlightening us.
God bless. I was right. It's great to be me.
It is great to be you, Bo. I mean, every day I wake up and I'm sad because it's like I wish I was Bo.
No, you don't.
Do you realize we have the same initials?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't know. How long did that take you to figure out?
I mean, probably like
longer than you care to admit.
No, I think like a few months ago I recognized it, but I kind of dismissed it, and now it just kind of came to my mind, and I was like, it'd be a good quirky thing to mention in the podcast as we're trying to figure out how to wrap this thing up.
Wrap it up.
You know what you can't wrap up?
A present from me.
Your book, now that you've unwrapped it.
Kobe. Got it.
Boom. If you're listening, Bo just tossed the wrapping paper into the trash can.
Yep, R.I.P.
R.I.P. paper.
All right. It's been a good one. Next episode should be out relatively soon. We got some guidance to read.
Got some gas to read. We have to figure out what we're going to talk about next episode.
Shh, don't let him out. Don't let him figure that out. We got it all planned, baby.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? In all honesty, we got to be honest with you guys. So we believe you value honesty. So we're, this is a DIY podcast, and we're kind of doing as we go. We're formulating plans as some structures as we go along, and
Yeah. Hit us up on the socials. If you are a fellow book snob as us and you feel like you can contribute, we can have a nice little chat. Hit us up. Maybe we'll work something out. We
Yeah.
get some guests on here. Maybe we can talk about some Gaddis, because it seems like Brett, needs some help, and there's only so much I can do.
Yep.
So, yeah, hit us up. We'll pontificate.
And if you happen to live in our general area, maybe we can get you in studio live with us.
Yeah. And if you don't,
Maybe we can find a way to phone you in.
we'll figure it out. All right.
Keywords, figure it out. And with that, folks, stay cool, stay in school, don't do drugs. Peace out.